Well, it's really the first book to look at modern sensory overload and our noisy human soundscapes and the effects of those on our canine companions. So we talk about that, try to raise awareness about the sound environments that they live in and also that we live in. So we want you to look at that for yourselves as well. And then we offer suggestions on how to enrich the environment for your dogs, specifically through the use of music. We took 4 different CDs that were with varying tempos and complexity. So we went from very slow, simple solo piano to piano trio at a higher tempo, a little more complex music. And we put those out in kennels, doggy daycares, veterinary offices, boarding facilities, in the home environment. We tested over 150 dogs. And what we found is that they responded very well to the arrangements, and specifically the solo piano music was very calming. They really relax. Many of them, especially if they're at home, will go to sleep. Well, there's 2 ways to look at music. You know, as humans, we have musical preferences. There are things that we like to listen to that make us feel good from a psychological standpoint. But what I've learned through doing this work with Joshua Leeds, who is the psychoacoustic researcher, is that there's a physiologic effect of music in both people and animals. And what happens is the waves of music, the rhythm, actually entrains with your heart rate, your breathing, your brain waves, and helps to link with them and slow them down. So it doesn't have to be that the dogs like the music. It's a physiologic effect. And so you can put it on at a very low volume, and you'll find that you'll become noticeably calmer as well. If you want to listen to something that's a little more uplifting, you don't want to always have music on that you're going to be can't get any work done because you're falling asleep. So we looked at other types of music that had a little bit more complexity to them, something that would be nice for us to listen to while we're working or around the house. And what we found is that the dogs were calm, not as calm as with the slow piano, but they didn't become agitated and they didn't leave the room, and they seemed to be fine with that music on. So we've kind of nicknamed it dog-friendly music. But let's say you like loud rock. I mean, I happen to love rock and roll, and there are times when it's going to be on in the house. What we would ask is that you, when you're playing different kinds of music or watching your television, that your animal's able to leave. You know, don't confine them in a room with you, assuming that they're going to like to watch that or be around that. Make sure they're able to leave the room. These were specifically arranged and recorded for this purpose. Absolutely, yes. And Lisa Spector's the pianist and Joshua Leeds is the producer, and they did a wonderful job. We did do some work with cats with this specific music, and it was just a very small study. They were all in the home environment, and there was a lot of variables. Some of them were older cats and just liked to lay around anyway. So what we found was it didn't agitate them by any means. They didn't necessarily leave or beat up on the dogs or get all upset. So we know that it's cat friendly as well. But we are interested in doing more work on what specifically cats would like. My first thought was, well, why not just turn on the radio? And so what we did is we took the psychoacoustically arranged classical music and compared it to just a playlist off a classical radio station. And what we found was twice as many anxiety behaviors were reduced with the psychoacoustically arranged music as with just plain old classical coming off the radio. Right now it's on Amazon and also through the publisher Sounds True. So you can go on their website or Amazon.com, and through A Dog's Ear as well. And we're looking at some local stores. I'm hoping that Gentle Wind is going to be carrying it, and potentially we're going to look into some pet supply stores. But so go online, they'll be able to find it. Well, I actually got an email from a husband and wife that were having a disagreement about whether or not the dogs really needed the music. And so what I would say is you know your dog best. If your dog has any kind of anxiety, shyness, fear, I would absolutely say try it. It may not be enough all by itself, depending on how severe the situation is, but it's definitely going to be a help. One of my interests right now is looking at, is it going to be like meditation in people? I mean, we know that people that meditate are healthier. So is this music going to help, and if we put it on every day for a perfectly normal dog to just relax them, is that going to help their health and their well-being? I don't know the answer to that. My hypothesis is that it would. It makes perfect sense to me.